3 days passed on the Zalthori ship. Olivia and Ethan kept to their routine. They ate the strange but edible food provided, did their calming exercises twice daily, and answered the same questions from different officers. Each time, their story remained the same. Olivia was a botanist. Her husband Jack had been a farmer. He died when the Empire invaded their settlement. They were just trying to find safety. Admiral Kazathul arrived on the 4th day. His visit was unexpected, even to Captain Vrexital. "Why is a fleet admiral interested in 2 human refugees?" the captain asked as they walked toward the cell block. Admiral Kazathul's middle eye narrowed. "The Empire has learned to be careful with humans. They appear weak, but hide many secrets." When they reached the cell, Olivia was sitting on the bed, reading from a small screen the Zalthori had given her. It contained only approved texts about the Empire's history and laws. Ethan was asleep beside her, curled up against her side. "The female appears intelligent," Admiral Kazathul observed, "and the offspring shows no signs of distress. She has been unexpectedly cooperative," Captain Vrextal admitted. The Admiral pressed a button on the wall. The cell door slid open. Olivia looked up calmly as the 2 high-ranking Zalthori entered. "Mrs. Carter," the Admiral said, using the human custom of titles. "I am Admiral Kazathul of the Imperial Fleet." Olivia nodded politely. "Should I wake my son?" "That won't be necessary," the Admiral said. "I came to speak with you." Olivia gently moved away from Ethan, who stirred but didn't wake. She stood with some effort, one hand supporting her belly. "We've reviewed your file," the Admiral continued. "Your background as a botanist specializing in hydroponics could be useful to the Empire. Many conquered worlds need efficient food production." Olivia's expression revealed nothing. "I'm willing to help with food production, Admiral, but not weapons. Some plants can be weaponized and I won't work on those projects." The Admiral's eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of surprise. "You are in no position to set terms, human." "I'm not setting terms," Olivia replied calmly. "I'm stating facts. I have the knowledge you want. You need my willing cooperation to access it fully. Threats might make me work, but they won't make me work well." Captain Vrextal shifted uncomfortably. Most humans begged or showed fear. This one negotiated as if she had leverage. Admiral Kazathul studied her for a long moment. "You are an unusual specimen, Mrs. Carter. Our files show your work was highly regarded even among your own kind." "I was good at my job," she said simply. "And your mate? Was he also good at his job?" Something flashed in Olivia's eyes so quickly it was hard to catch. "Jack was a farmer. He grew the plants I modified. We were a good team." The Admiral moved, closer, towering over her. "It's interesting that we can find no record of your mate in our databases. Jack Carter doesn't appear in any colony registries." Olivia's face showed gentle sadness. "Many records were lost when the Empire attacked. Not everyone was important enough to be remembered. Yet you remember him. He was my husband and the father of my children. Of course I remember him." The Admiral nodded slowly, then turned to leave. At the door, he paused. "Bring her to medical. For a full scan. I want to know everything about her biology." After they left, Olivia sat back down beside Ethan, who opened his eyes immediately. "They're suspicious," he whispered. Olivia smiled. "Good. That's exactly what we want." In the medical bay, Zalthori doctors connected Olivia to various machines. Their technology was advanced but designed for their own species. Human biology was still somewhat mysterious to them. "Your heart rate is perfectly steady," one doctor observed. "Most humans show fear in these situations." "I've had practice staying calm," Olivia said. "When you work with potentially dangerous plant compounds, panic can be deadly." The doctor pressed a button, and a screen lit up showing detailed images of Olivia's internal organs, brain, and the baby growing inside her. "Your neural pathways show unusual development in the amygdala region, and there are traces of synthetic compounds in your bloodstream. Prenatal vitamins, Olivia explained. They help the baby develop properly. The doctor looked unconvinced but made a note. In another room, Admiral Kazathul watched the examination with Captain Vrextal. She's hiding something, the Admiral said. Run her genetic profile through the military database, not just civilian records. Hours later, an intelligence officer brought the results to the Admiral's private quarters. We found a match, sir, the officer reported. But it's strange. Her genetic profile has markers consistent with Tier 1 military enhancement programs. These aren't available to civilians. So she's military? The Admiral asked. Possibly, but there's more. The enhancements appear to be breeding modifications. The Admiral's three eyes widened. The humans are genetically enhancing their breeding pairs? It appears so, sir. The modifications suggest she was part of a program to produce offspring with specific traits, enhanced strength, intelligence, and unique neural capabilities. The Admiral paced the room. What about the mate? Any records of this Jack Carter? Nothing definitive, sir, but there's a classified file that mentions a Special Forces operative with the last name Carter. Most of the file is heavily encrypted. Keep working on it, the Admiral ordered, and increase security around the humans. If she is military, we need to know who she really is and what she's doing on my ship. Meanwhile, Olivia and Ethan had returned to their cell. As night fell and the ship's lights dimmed, they sat cross-legged on the floor once more. They're digging deeper, Ethan, Olivia whispered. That means we need to work faster. Tonight's connection needs to be stronger. Ethan nodded solemnly. I miss Dad. I know, sweetheart. He misses you too, and he's coming for us. We just need to help him find the way. Together they closed their eyes and breathed in unison. This time Olivia placed her hands on Ethan's shoulders, helping to amplify the signal from his neural implants. In her belly, the baby kicked strongly, as if adding her own strength to the connection. Far away, Jack Carter sat in complete darkness, on his stealth ship. His crew knew not to disturb him during these sessions. The neural link with his son was growing stronger, and now he could almost see through Ethan's eyes. Got you, Jack whispered, as the coordinates and ship schematics filled his mind. His hands moved over a holographic display, marking entry points and security measures. Hold on just a little longer. Back on the Imperial ship, alarms suddenly blared. Captain Vrextal rushed to the command center. What's happening? He demanded. Unknown. Energy signature detected in cell block 7, an officer reported. It lasted only seconds but registered on multiple scanners. The humans, Captain Vrextal realized. Check on them immediately. When guards reached the cell, they found Olivia and Ethan sleeping peacefully. The energy signature was gone. But something had changed, though the Zalthori couldn't see it. The plan was now in motion, and Jack Carter was on his way. The stars looked different from inside the small transport ship. Olivia Carter watched them through the viewport, one hand resting on her large belly while the other gently stroked her son's hair. Ethan was 7 years old and scared, though he tried not to show it. The boy had his father's quiet strength. Are we going to find Dad soon? Ethan asked, looking up at his mother with big brown eyes. Yes, sweetheart. We just need to reach the safe zone first. Olivia smiled, but her eyes kept moving to the ship's scanner. They were being followed. The transport shuddered. Olivia knew what that meant. The Zalthori Empire had locked onto them with a tractor beam. Their small civilian ship stood no chance against an Imperial cruiser. Ethan, remember what we practiced? Olivia asked, her voice calm, even as warning lights began to flash across the control panel. The boy nodded and sat up straight. Act scared, but don't tell them anything about Dad. If they ask, he was just a farmer who died when the Empire came. That's right. Olivia squeezed his shoulder. And remember the breathing exercises. They help with more than just staying calm. The massive shadow of the Imperial cruiser, dominant will, covered their small ship completely. Through the viewport, Olivia could see its gun ports and the harsh spotlights scanning their hull. The Empire had been spreading across human space for years now, taking planets one by one. Earth had fallen 6 months ago. The outer colonies were next. The ship's communication system crackled. "Human vessel, you have entered restricted space. Prepare to be boarded." Olivia didn't bother responding. She helped Ethan put on his jacket and grabbed a small backpack. Inside were basic supplies and hidden tech that looked like normal items. To anyone else, the silver bracelet on her wrist was jewelry. To Olivia, it was a link to her husband. The transport rocked as docking clamps grabbed hold. Metal groaned. As the airlock was forced open, Olivia held Ethan close as the door to their cabin slid open with a hiss. 5 Zalthori soldiers stood in the doorway. They were tall, with gray-blue skin and 4 arms. Their faces had no noses, just breathing slits, and their 3 eyes blinked at different times. Each soldier carried weapons that could vaporize a human in seconds. "Move," said the lead soldier, its translator making the word sound flat and cold. Olivia walked with dignity, one hand holding Ethan's and the other supporting her belly. She was 8 months pregnant and tired from running, but her mind stayed sharp. Captain Vrextal waited in the docking bay. He was taller than the other Zalthori, with red markings on his armor showing his high rank. All 3 of his eyes focused. "On the pregnant woman. Scan them," he ordered. A soldier ran a humming device over Olivia and Ethan. "Standard humans. The female is carrying a female offspring. Development at approximately 8 lunar cycles." "Where were you heading?" Captain Vrextal asked Olivia. "Away from the fighting," she answered simply. "I'm trying to protect my children." The captain studied her face. "Your ship's course suggests you were heading toward the Proxima Resistance Base." Olivia shook her head. "I don't know anything about resistance bases. I'm a botanist. My husband and I worked on hydroponic systems for the outer colonies before." She let her voice trail off, eyes lowering as if in grief. "Before what?" The captain pressed. Ethan spoke up, his voice small but clear. "Before the aliens killed him, he was just a farmer. He didn't even fight back." Captain Vrextal's middle eye blinked rapidly, a sign of suspicion in the Zalthori. "The child appears traumatized, yet you seem unusually calm for someone who has lost a mate and is carrying offspring." Olivia looked the alien directly in his eyes. "I don't have the luxury of falling apart. My children need me." Something in her steady gaze made the captain uncomfortable. Most humans showed fear when captured. This one showed something else, something that felt like a warning. "Take them to cell block 7, he ordered finally. "Keep them together. The female needs medical monitoring until the offspring arrives." As the guards led them away, Captain Vrextal called after them. "What was your mate's name, human?" Olivia turned slightly. "Jack," she said simply. His name was Jack. The name meant nothing to the captain, not yet. The cell was small but clean. There was a bed big enough for both of them, a small washing area behind a privacy screen, and food dispensers in the wall. The Zalthori might be conquerors, but they weren't unnecessarily cruel to their prisoners. After the guards left, Olivia carefully checked the room for monitoring devices. She found 3 and left them alone. The Zalthori would expect prisoners to look for cameras. "Can I do my exercises now, Mom?" Ethan asked quietly. Olivia nodded and sat cross-legged on the floor. Ethan joined her, their knees touching. "Deep breaths," she instructed. "Find your center like Dad taught you." Together they breathed slowly, eyes closed. To any watching Zalthori, it looked like a mother calming a frightened child. But with each breath, the special neural implants in Ethan's brain activated more fully. These implants were undetectable by Zalthori scanners, designed by human scientists working with Jack. From the outside, nothing seemed to happen. Inside Ethan's mind, a connection formed, stretching across space to find the matching neural signal of his father. Later that night, as Ethan slept, Olivia sat by the viewport in their cell. The stars looked cold from here. She touched her belly as the baby kicked. "We're doing fine," she whispered. Not to her unborn daughter, but to the stars beyond. She knew Jack couldn't hear her, but saying the words gave her strength. Ethan made the connection. "The signal is transmitting. We're right where we need to be." Miles away in the command center of the dominant will, Captain Vrextal reviewed the prisoner intake files. Something about the human woman bothered him. Her calmness felt dangerous somehow. "Run a deeper background check on the female prisoner," he ordered. "Check military databases too, not just civilian records." "Is there a problem, Captain?" his second-in-command asked. Captain Vrextal stared at Olivia's image on the screen. "I'm not sure yet. But in my experience, when a human seems too composed in capture, they're either broken or planning something." He didn't realize just how right he was, or that the plan had already been set in motion long before Olivia's ship was captured. Far away on a stealth ship at the edge of the system, Jack Carter received the first neural transmission from his son. His hands tightened on the control panel as the coordinates came through. "I've found them," he told his small but elite crew, "and now we hunt." A week passed on the Imperial ship. Olivia felt her time growing closer. The baby moved more often now, sometimes making her wince with sharp kicks. The Zalthori doctors monitored her daily. Their interest in her pregnancy seemed more scientific than caring. Admiral Kazthul called a meeting with his highest officers in the secure command room. Captain Vrextal stood at attention, along with the chief medical officer and the head of security. "What have we learned about the human female?" the admiral asked. The medical officer stepped forward. "Her pregnancy is progressing normally, Admiral. The offspring should arrive within 2 weeks. But we've discovered something unusual in her." Blood tests. A holographic display appeared showing complex molecules. "These compounds are not natural," the doctor explained. "They appear to be military-grade enhancements, similar to what elite human soldiers receive, but modified for long-term genetic impact." Captain Vrextal's eyes widened. "She claimed to be a botanist." "She may have been," the security chief said. "Our intelligence suggests humans sometimes hide their best military assets in civilian roles. It allows them to move freely without drawing attention." Admiral Kazthul paced slowly. "And the mate? This Jack Carter?" "Still nothing concrete, sir," the security chief reported. "But we found scattered references to a special forces operative with that name. The files are heavily protected." "Keep digging," the admiral ordered. "In the meantime, I want to speak with the boy." In their cell, Olivia helped Ethan practice his reading on the small screen. The texts were simple: Zalthori children's learning, materials translated to English. Behind the boring stories about obedience and imperial glory, mother and son shared a silent understanding. Time was running out. The door slid open. 2 guards entered. "The offspring will come with us," one announced. Olivia stood quickly, placing herself between Ethan and the guards. "Where are you taking him?" "Admiral's orders. He will be returned." Ethan touched his mother's arm. "It's okay, Mom. I remember what to do." Olivia hesitated, then nodded. "Be brave," she whispered. As Ethan left with the guards, Olivia felt a sharp pain in her belly. Not a contraction, but something else. Worry, perhaps. Or maybe it was her daughter, sensing that things were changing. Admiral Kazthul waited in a small room designed for interviews. There was a table with 2 chairs, one sized for Zalthori, one adjusted for humans. Ethan entered, his small frame dwarfed by the guards beside him. "Sit, please," the admiral said, his translator making the word sound almost gentle. Ethan climbed onto the chair. His feet didn't touch the floor. "I want to talk about your father," the admiral began. Ethan's face showed sadness. "He died when the aliens came." "Yes, so your mother says. He was a farmer?" "Yes, sir. He grew the plants that Mom studied." The admiral leaned forward. "What else did he do?" Ethan looked confused. "He taught me things. How to fish. How to stay calm when I'm scared." "Useful skills," the admiral noted. "Did he teach you other things? Fighting, perhaps? How to use weapons?" Ethan's eyes widened. "No, sir. Dad didn't like fighting. He said plants were better than weapons because they feed people instead of hurting them." The Admiral watched the boy carefully. The child showed no signs of deception that Zalthori could detect, yet something felt wrong. Did your father have friends who visited? People in uniforms, perhaps? Ethan thought for a moment. Sometimes people came to see Mom's plants. Some wore lab coats. Is that a uniform? The Admiral sighed. The boy was either telling the truth or extremely well trained. Perhaps both. One more question. These exercises you do with your mother, what are they for? Mom says they help me stay calm and clear my mind, Ethan answered. Dad taught them to her. He learned them when he was young. The Admiral nodded. You may return to your mother now. After Ethan left, Captain Vrextal entered. Did you learn anything, Admiral? The boy believes what he's saying, the Admiral replied. But that doesn't mean it's the complete truth. Children can be taught partial truths, just enough to believe, but not enough to reveal anything important. What are your orders, sir? The Admiral stood. Move them to the high-security sector, double the guards, and prepare my ship for departure. I want to transfer them to Outpost Sigma 9 for more thorough questioning. When Ethan returned to the cell, Olivia hugged him tightly. What did they ask you? Questions about Dad, Ethan whispered. I answered just like we practiced. Olivia smiled. Good boy. Now we need to... She stopped suddenly, gasping. A pool of liquid formed at her feet. Mom! Ethan's voice rose in panic. My water broke, Olivia said, breathing carefully. The baby is coming, earlier than expected. Ethan reached for the emergency call button, but Olivia grabbed his hand. Wait, this is perfect timing. Remember what Dad said? Ethan's eyes widened with understanding. Confusion creates opportunity. Olivia nodded, then pressed the button herself. Within minutes, medical staff rushed in. Olivia was taken to the medical bay on a floating stretcher, Ethan running alongside. The Zalthori medical team moved with efficient purpose, but they couldn't hide their nervousness. Human births were still somewhat mysterious to them. Inform me. The Admiral, the chief medical officer, ordered. The offspring is arriving. In the medical bay, machines beeped and screens displayed Olivia's vital signs. She breathed through contractions while Ethan held her hand. The Zalthori doctors watched, in fascination. The birth process has begun, one reported to Admiral Kazathul, who had come to observe. It appears to be progressing rapidly. The Admiral nodded. Ensure both the female and the new offspring survive. They are valuable specimens. Hours passed. Olivia's labor intensified. The Zalthori kept their distance, monitoring through machines. Rather than direct contact, human reproduction made them uncomfortable. Push now, the medical officer instructed as sensors indicated the final stage approaching. Olivia bore down, gripping Ethan's hand tightly. With a final cry of effort, her daughter entered the world. Tiny, red-faced and screaming with healthy lungs. The sound of the baby's first cry coincided with another sound, alarms blaring throughout the ship. What's happening? Admiral Kazathul demanded. A communication officer's voice came through the speakers. Multiple unidentified vessels have appeared, sir. They came out of nowhere. No hyperspace signature detected. Impossible, the Admiral growled. Nothing can mask a hyperspace. Exit, sir, the voice continued. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. A human male's voice filled the room, calm and measured. This is Commander Jack Carter of the Earth Defense Force. You have my wife, my son, and now my newborn daughter. I want them back. Admiral Kazathul's three eyes all turned to Olivia, who smiled tiredly as she cradled her newborn. You should have checked the military records more carefully, she said softly. Jack isn't just any soldier. He's the one your empire calls the Ghost. The color drained from the Admiral's face. Every Zalthori military officer knew that name. The Ghost. A human special forces commander responsible for the destruction of 3 Imperial dreadnoughts and countless smaller vessels. A shadow that struck without warning and disappeared without trace. Omega-level threat, Captain Vrextal whispered in horror. Outside the ship, 6 small but advanced human vessels moved into attack formation. Inside one of them, Jack Carter checked his weapons and prepared to board the Imperial cruiser. The hunt was over. Now the rescue would begin. Chaos erupted on the Imperial cruiser. Alarms blared through every corridor. Soldiers rushed to battle stations. In the medical bay, Admiral Kazathul stared at Olivia with a mixture of shock and growing anger. "You planned this," he said, his translator barely able to keep up with his rapid speech. "You allowed yourself to be captured." Olivia looked down at her newborn daughter, who had stopped crying and now blinked at the bright lights. "We didn't plan for her to arrive during the rescue. That was just good timing." Captain Vrextal burst into the medical bay. "Sir, the human vessels are holding position. They've made no aggressive moves yet. Their commander is requesting direct communication with you." The Admiral straightened his posture. "Put him through to this room." A screen on the wall flickered to life. The face that appeared was surprisingly ordinary. A human male with short brown hair, serious eyes, and a day's worth of stubble on his jaw. Nothing about him suggested the fearsome reputation of the Ghost. "Admiral Kazathul," Jack Carter said, his voice level. "I believe you have my family." The Admiral stepped forward. "Commander Carter, your reputation precedes you. As does yours. I understand you've been taking good care of my wife and son. Your mate has just produced offspring." The Admiral replied, stiffly. "A female." Something flickered across Jack's face. A brief moment of emotion quickly controlled. "I'd like to speak with my wife." The Admiral nodded to a technician who adjusted the screen's angle to show Olivia with the baby in her arms and Ethan standing beside her. "Jack," Olivia said softly. "Hey there," he replied, his voice warming. "You did good." "She has your nose," Olivia told him, "and your timing." Jack smiled briefly, then his expression became serious again. "Are you all okay?" "We're fine," Olivia assured him. "Just ready to come home." The Admiral moved back into view. "That won't be happening, Commander. Your family now belongs to the Empire. They are valuable research subjects." Jack's eyes hardened. "Admiral, let me explain the situation clearly. I have 6 ships surrounding yours. Each carries a specialized strike team. We've already disabled your long-range communications and your hyperspace engines. You can't call for help and you can't run." "You're bluffing," the Admiral scoffed. "No human vessels could approach without our sensors detecting them, and our shields remain fully operational." "Check your systems again," Jack suggested calmly. "Captain," Vrextal whispered urgently to a communication officer, then turned to the Admiral with alarm. "Sir, he's right. Long-range communications are offline, and engineering reports problems with the hyperspace drives." The Admiral's 3 eyes blinked. In rapid succession. "How did you—" "My wife and son have been sending me information for days," Jack explained. "The Zalthori Empire still doesn't understand human neural technology very well." Olivia shifted the baby in her arms. "The exercises we've been doing weren't just for staying calm. They were activating the neural link." Admiral Kazathul looked at the small family with new understanding. The supposedly helpless pregnant woman and the innocent child had been mapping his ship from the inside, transmitting data about security systems, crew rotations, and vulnerabilities. "What do you want?" the Admiral asked Jack. "I want my family," returned safely. "In exchange, I won't destroy your ship." The Admiral's posture stiffened. "The Imperial cruiser Dominant Will is a state-of-the-art warship with a crew of 5,000. Your 6 small vessels pose no serious threat." Jack nodded to someone off-screen. "Look at your starboard viewing port, Admiral." Captain Vrextal rushed to a nearby screen and activated the external cameras. His mandibles clicked in alarm. "Sir, there are devices attached to our hull. Hundreds of them. Proximity mines," Jack explained. "Placed while your sensors were experiencing those minor glitches over the past few days. Each one contains enough explosives to breach your hull. I don't need to destroy your entire ship, Admiral. Just make it unable to sustain life." The medical staff backed away from Olivia, suddenly seeing her not as a patient but as the dangerous mate of an enemy commander. Admiral Kazathul calculated his options. The human was not bluffing. The ghost's tactics were well documented in Imperial intelligence. Reports he never made threats he couldn't carry out. "How do I know you won't destroy us anyway once your family is aboard your vessel?" the Admiral asked. "Because I give you my word," Jack said simply. "And unlike your empire, humans keep their promises." The Admiral turned to Captain Vrextal. "Prepare a shuttle for the humans. Full medical support for the female and the newborn." "Sir?" the captain questioned. "The High Command will not approve of releasing such valuable specimens." "The High Command isn't here," the Admiral snapped. "I am responsible for this ship and its crew. I will not sacrifice 5,000 lives." On the screen, Jack nodded. "A wise decision, Admiral. My team will dock at Bay 3 in 15 minutes. Have my family ready." The screen went dark. "Admiral." Kazathul turned to Olivia. "Your mate is as dangerous as the reports claim," he said. Olivia smiled tiredly. "You have no idea. The Empire has never seen what Jack can really do, and you should be grateful for that." 15 minutes later, Olivia was in a hover chair, her newborn daughter wrapped in a soft blanket against her chest. Ethan walked beside her, surrounded by Zalthori guards. They moved through the corridors toward docking Bay 3. Admiral Kazathul led the procession himself. "I still don't understand why you allowed yourselves to be captured," he said to Olivia. "It was an unnecessary risk." "Not unnecessary," Olivia replied. "We needed information about your fleet movements. The best way to get it was from inside your command ship." The Admiral's 3 eyes widened. "This was never just about your family's safety. It was an intelligence mission." "It was both," Olivia said as they reached the docking bay. A sleek human shuttle had already attached to the airlock. The door slid open to reveal Jack Carter, unarmed and alone. He looked exactly as he had on the screen. An ordinary man with extraordinary abilities. "Dad!" Ethan broke away from the guards and ran to his father. Jack knelt and embraced his son, then stood and walked forward to meet Olivia. He looked down at the tiny face of his newborn daughter with wonder. "She's perfect," he whispered. Olivia smiled. "I've been thinking about a name. How does Hope sound?" "Hope," Jack repeated softly. "It fits." He looked up at Admiral Kazathul. "Thank you for taking care of them, Admiral." The Admiral stood stiffly. "This isn't over, Commander. The Empire will find you again." "Probably," Jack agreed. "But next time, you might want to bring more ships." As the human family boarded their shuttle, Admiral Kazathul watched with a mixture of frustration and grudging respect. The Empire had underestimated humans from the beginning. Perhaps it was time to reconsider their approach to conquering Earth and its colonies. The shuttle detached from the cruiser and rejoined the small fleet of human vessels. True to his word, Jack Carter did not fire on the Imperial ship. But as they departed, all the proximity mines detached from the hull and followed the human ships like a swarm of obedient insects. The Admiral watched them go, knowing he would have to explain this failure to his superiors. But he had learned something valuable today, something that might change the course of the war. Never underestimate a human protecting their family, especially when that human is Jack Carter. Jack Carter's small fleet moved swiftly through space, leaving the Imperial cruiser behind. In the main shuttle, Olivia rested on a medical bed while doctors checked her and baby Hope. Ethan sat nearby, watching his father pilot the ship with steady hands. "You did an amazing job," Jack said to Olivia when the doctors finished. "Both the mission and the baby." Olivia smiled tiredly. "I had help. Ethan was braver than some adult soldiers I've known." Jack reached over to ruffle his son's hair. "That's because he takes after his mother." Ethan beamed with pride but looked worried. "Are they going to come after us, Dad?" "Not right away," Jack assured him. "Their ship needs repairs first. And by then we'll be somewhere safe." On his control panel, a light flashed. Jack pressed a button, and a holographic image appeared of a woman in a military uniform. "Commander Carter," she said formally. "Mission status?" "Complete, General," Jack replied. "Family recovered, intelligence gathered. No casualties on either side." The general nodded. The data Olivia collected is already being analyzed. It confirms our suspicions about the Empire's next target. We're mobilizing the fleet to intercept them. You're welcome, Olivia called from her bed. The general smiled briefly. Well done, Major Carter. I understand congratulations are in order as well. Thank you, ma'am, Olivia replied. Hope arrived a little earlier than expected, but with perfect timing. Hope, the general repeated. A fitting name for these times. Get some rest, all of you. We'll debrief when you reach headquarters. The hologram disappeared. Jack set the autopilot and moved to sit beside his family. He gently touched his daughter's tiny hand. Her fingers curled around his thumb with surprising strength. She's going to be as tough as her mother, he said softly. Olivia leaned against his shoulder. The Zalthori were very interested in my breeding modifications, as they called them. They couldn't understand why humans would genetically enhance their children. That's because they don't understand family, Jack said. They grow their offspring in pods and train them for specific roles. There's no love involved. Ethan looked up from his sister's face. Is that why they're trying to conquer everyone? Because they don't know how to love? Jack and Olivia exchanged glances. That's a very insightful question, Olivia told her son. It might be part of the reason. The Empire has been conquering worlds for centuries, Jack explained. They see other species as resources to be used, not equals to be respected. Like how Admiral Kazathul kept calling me and Mom specimens? Ethan asked. Jack nodded. Exactly like that. Hours later, their small fleet approached a hidden base built into an asteroid. The entrance was concealed by holographic technology that made it look like solid rock. Only when they were meters away did the illusion fade to reveal a docking bay. As the ships landed, medical staff rushed forward to help Olivia and the baby. Jack carried Hope while Ethan walked beside them, holding his mother's hand. Other soldiers gathered around, offering congratulations and welcome. General Mason met them in the medical center. She was a tall woman with short gray hair and kind eyes that had seen too much war. The intelligence division is very pleased with the information you gathered, she told Olivia. Especially the details about their new weapon systems. It's going to save a lot of lives. Did they learn about our neural link technology? Jack asked. The general shook her head. They suspected something but couldn't figure out how it worked. That gives us an advantage for a while longer. A doctor approached. Major Carter and the baby are both doing well, but they need rest. Of course, the general agreed. The debriefing can wait until tomorrow. Later, in private quarters assigned to the family, Jack sat with Ethan while Olivia and Hope slept. Were you scared when we were captured? Jack asked his son. Ethan thought about it. Sometimes, but Mom said you'd come for us, so I tried to be brave. Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared, Jack told him. It means doing what needs to be done even when you are scared. Like how you flew into enemy territory to rescue us? Jack smiled. I was terrified the whole time, but I couldn't let fear stop me from finding my family. Mom says I'm going to be a soldier like you both someday, Ethan said. Jack looked serious. Only if that's what you want. Your mother and I fight so that you and your sister can choose your own paths. In another part of the base, General Mason studied the data from the Imperial cruiser. Maps, fleet movements, weapon specifications. Olivia had managed to access and memorize an impressive amount of information during her captivity. One file in particular caught the general's attention. The Empire was building something new, a weapon designed specifically to target human neural technology. If they had succeeded, the advantage that had helped Jack rescue his family would have been lost. The timing was perfect, she murmured to herself. Another few months and this mission would have been impossible. Back in the family's quarters, Olivia woke to find Jack watching over her and the baby. Hope slept peacefully in a small crib next to their bed. Ethan had fallen asleep in a chair, a book about spaceships still open on his lap. The Admiral asked why we let ourselves be captured, Olivia said quietly. He thought it was an unnecessary risk. Jack took her hand. Was it? I almost lost all three of you. We needed that information, Jack, and I knew you'd come for us. Always, he promised. No matter what. Olivia smiled. The Empire doesn't understand that. They think our emotions make us weak, but they're what make us strong. That's why we'll win this war, Jack said. Not because we have better weapons or faster ships, but because we have something worth fighting for. He glanced at their sleeping children. Something worth dying for. And living for, Olivia added. Days later, the human fleet launched a surprise attack on the Empire's shipyard where their new anti-neural weapon was being built. The intelligence Olivia gathered made the mission a complete success. Without firing a single shot, Jack Carter's team planted explosives throughout the facility, then retreated before the Empire knew they were there. On the command ship, Jack and Olivia watched through a viewport as the distant explosions lit up space like new stars being born. Admiral Kazthul will know it was us, Olivia said. Jack nodded. Good. I want the Empire to understand something important. What's that? That humans protect what they love. And that makes us the most dangerous species in the galaxy. In her mother's arms, baby Hope stirred and opened her eyes, looking up at the distant lights with wonder. The future of humanity, watching her parents defend it with everything they had. The Empire had captured a pregnant woman and her son. They hadn't known who her husband was. They wouldn't make that mistake again.